Introduction. Life is full of unexpected challenges, from personal setbacks to global uncertainties, and often it can feel like the weight of the world is pressing down on us. We all face moments of doubt, fear, and frustration, moments where it seems almost impossible to remain calm, focused, and resilient. But what if we could tap into the wisdom of someone who not only experienced immense pressure and adversity, but also used these very challenges to cultivate strength, clarity, and virtue? Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor who ruled one of the greatest empires in history, did exactly that. Despite wielding unparalleled power, he faced constant wars, political betrayals, and personal tragedies. Yet, he wrote his reflections, later compiled as Meditations, as a guide for himself and for future generations to learn how to live a meaningful, resilient, and fulfilled life. In today's fast-paced, unpredictable world, resilience, inner strength, and clarity are more essential than ever. We are continuously confronted by situations that challenge our patience, test our values, and force us to confront our fears and insecurities. What if we could approach these challenges not with fear or frustration, but with wisdom, courage, and insight? By examining the teachings of Marcus Aurelius, we can discover timeless principles that help us regain control over our minds, cultivate inner peace, and navigate the complexities of modern life with grace. In this video, we will explore 12 life-changing lessons inspired by Marcus Aurelius' meditations that will help you build resilience, strengthen your character, and lead a more meaningful life, even in the face of adversity. Lesson 1. Control your perception. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself that everything we hear is an opinion, not a fact. Everything we see is a perspective, not the truth. Our perception of events shapes how we respond to them, and therefore, it shapes our entire reality. When we perceive a situation as threatening or unjust, it immediately triggers stress, fear, or anger. However, Marcus teaches us that our mind has the power to interpret events differently. By consciously controlling our perception, we can choose to respond to life with calmness, reason, and clarity. For example, imagine a colleague criticizes your work. Your initial reaction might be anger or defensiveness, but by stepping back and considering their perspective, or recognizing that the criticism is merely a reflection of their opinion rather than an absolute truth, you can respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. This control over perception allows us to maintain balance and reduces unnecessary suffering caused by external events. Practically, controlling perception involves active mindfulness and reflection. One method is to mentally rehearse challenging situations in advance, imagining how you could respond with patience and composure rather than frustration. Another technique is cognitive reframing. When faced with a problem, consciously identify negative interpretations and replace them with constructive or neutral ones. For instance, if traffic makes you late, instead of thinking, "This ruins my whole day," reframe it. "This gives me time to listen to an audiobook or reflect on my goals." Marcus also emphasized detachment, recognizing that external events are temporary and often beyond our control. By combining mindfulness, detachment, and deliberate thought, we train ourselves to perceive challenges not as threats, but as opportunities to practice patience, resilience, and virtue. Over time, this habit strengthens our inner calm, making us less reactive and more capable of navigating life's inevitable difficulties with wisdom and grace. Lesson 2. Live in the present moment. Marcus Aurelius repeatedly reminded himself to concentrate the mind on the present moment, understanding that dwelling on the past or obsessing over the future only leads to anxiety, regret, and distraction. Living in the present is not a simple concept. It requires consistent practice and deep awareness of our thoughts, emotions, and surroundings. Often, we find ourselves consumed by memories of past failures or worries about potential future outcomes, which clouds our judgment and diminishes our ability to act effectively. For example, a student stressed about exams may ruminate on previous mistakes or fear potential failure, leading to procrastination and panic. By consciously focusing on the present, on the immediate task at hand, one can regain clarity, reduce stress, and approach challenges more effectively. Marcus Aurelius understood that time is a precious resource, and that the mind's obsession with what cannot be changed is wasted energy. Embracing the present allows us to fully engage with life, notice opportunities for growth, and savor even the simplest experiences, whether it's a conversation with a loved one or a quiet walk in nature. Practically, living in the present can be cultivated through mindfulness exercises, meditation, and intentional reflection. Mindful breathing, for example, is a simple yet powerful practice. By focusing solely on the rhythm of your breath, you train the mind to anchor itself in the present moment and gently release distracting thoughts. Mindful daily activities can also help. Savor each bite of your meal. Feel the sensations of walking, or immerse yourself fully in listening to someone speak without thinking about what you will say next. Journaling is another powerful tool. By writing about your experiences, thoughts, and emotions at the end of each day, you not only gain self-awareness, but also ground yourself in the reality of your life rather than hypothetical scenarios. Over time, these practices cultivate a mindset where the present moment becomes a source of calm, focus, and resilience, making it easier to navigate uncertainty, handle stress, and respond wisely to life's challenges rather than reacting impulsively. Lesson 3. Embrace adversity as an opportunity for growth. Marcus Aurelius famously said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This encapsulates one of the most powerful Stoic lessons. Adversity is not an obstacle to be avoided, but a catalyst for growth and self-improvement. Life will inevitably throw challenges at us: career setbacks, relationship conflicts, or unexpected losses. But these trials offer opportunities to strengthen our character, develop new skills, and discover resilience we may not have known existed. For instance, a person losing their job may initially feel devastated, yet this moment can become a chance to explore a new career, cultivate a passion, or develop abilities previously untapped. Marcus Aurelius encourages us to shift our perspective. Rather than seeing challenges as setbacks, we should view them as invitations to rise above, to exercise patience, perseverance, and creativity in overcoming them. By reframing difficulties in this way, we transform fear and frustration into motivation and purpose. To practically embrace adversity, start by cultivating a growth mindset, the belief that intelligence, abilities, and resilience can be developed through effort and experience. When confronted with a problem, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can this make me stronger or wiser? Reframing negative thoughts is another effective tool. Instead of thinking, I can't handle this, you might say, this is difficult, but it is a chance to grow. drawing inspiration from real-life examples can reinforce this mindset. History is full of individuals who faced enormous challenges yet thrived because they treated adversity as a teacher, not a punishment. Finally, seek support from mentors, friends, or professional networks. Sharing struggles and gaining perspective from others can reveal solutions or attitudes you may not have considered. By consistently practicing this approach, challenges no longer intimidate us. They become stepping stones toward self-mastery, resilience, and a more purposeful life. Lesson 4. Cultivate humility and empathy. Humility and empathy are two of the most essential virtues Marcus Aurelius emphasized for personal growth and resilience. Humility is the understanding that no one is infallible, including ourselves, and that every person we meet has a perspective shaped by experiences, trials, and knowledge that may differ from ours. When we approach life with humility, we acknowledge our limitations, recognize our mistakes, and remain open to learning from others. For example, a manager who admits they do not have all the answers can foster a collaborative environment, gain valuable input from colleagues, and make better informed decisions. Similarly, in personal relationships, humility allows us to listen actively and accept criticism without defensiveness, creating an atmosphere of mutual respect. Marcus Aurelius reminds us to check ourselves before judging others, asking, "What fault is most similar to what I am about to criticize?" This reflection not only encourages compassion, but also nurtures a sense of shared human vulnerability, which strengthens our connection to others and helps us navigate conflict more gracefully. Empathy, closely linked to humility, involves understanding the emotions and perspectives of those around us, even when they differ from our own. Practicing empathy builds emotional intelligence, strengthens relationships, and enhances our resilience in social and professional settings. Simple actions, listening without judgment, asking thoughtful questions, and acknowledging others' feelings can transform interactions and resolve misunderstandings before they escalate. Volunteering or engaging in acts of service is another powerful way to cultivate empathy. Helping those facing challenges outside our own experiences deepens our understanding of life's complexities and strengthens compassion. By combining humility with empathy, we develop a mindset that is flexible, patient, and resilient. Life's challenges often involve interpersonal conflicts, but these virtues allow us to navigate them with grace, seeing others' struggles as reflections of universal human experience rather than threats to our comfort or ego. Ultimately, humility and empathy serve as both moral compasses and practical tools, guiding us toward wiser decisions, stronger relationships, and a more balanced, resilient life. Lesson 5. Cultivate gratitude. Gratitude is a cornerstone of mental resilience and a central theme in Marcus Aurelius's reflections. Recognizing the value of our blessings, both small and significant, shifts our focus from what we lack to what we already possess. This simple change in perspective can dramatically improve our outlook on life, reduce stress, and foster emotional stability. For instance, a person facing a challenging work environment can choose to focus on supportive colleagues, opportunities for learning, or personal skills gained from the experience, rather than dwelling on frustrations. Marcus Aurelius advised contemplating the precious privilege of living, breathing, thinking, enjoying, and loving each morning. By regularly acknowledging what we are grateful for, we create a buffer against negative thoughts and cultivate an enduring sense of contentment. Gratitude, in essence, acts as a mental lens, reshaping how we perceive hardships and highlighting the opportunities, lessons, and joys that are already present in our lives. Practical applications of gratitude are manifold. Keeping a daily gratitude journal, for example, where you note 3 things you are thankful for, encourages reflection and reinforces a positive mindset. Expressing appreciation to others, thanking colleagues for their support, complimenting friends or family, or acknowledging a mentor's guidance, strengthens social bonds and spreads positivity. Gratitude can also be cultivated through mindfulness, by intentionally noticing the simple joys of life, the warmth of sunlight, a comforting meal, laughter, or a quiet moment alone. Even setbacks can be reframed with gratitude. Viewing challenges as lessons and opportunities for growth helps develop resilience and patience. By integrating gratitude into our daily practices, we build not only a more positive mental state, but also a greater capacity to cope with adversity, maintain perspective, and lead a life imbued with appreciation and joy. Marcus Aurelius' wisdom teaches us that the cultivation of gratitude is not passive. It is an active daily commitment that transforms perception, strengthens resilience, and fosters a life rich in meaning. Lesson 6. Cultivate inner peace. Marcus Aurelius emphasized that inner peace is not determined by external circumstances, but by the state of our own minds. True resilience and strength come from a calm, centered mind that is not easily disturbed by external chaos. Inner peace allows us to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively, and it provides a foundation from which we can tackle life's challenges with clarity and composure. Imagine a person facing a sudden career setback or personal loss. By cultivating inner peace, they can assess the situation rationally, identify actionable steps, and avoid being consumed by panic or regret. Practices like meditation, deep breathing, journaling, and even mindful walking can help train the mind to remain centered. Marcus Aurelius wrote about the importance of observing one's thoughts, understanding their impermanence, and letting go of destructive emotions, which allows us to regain balance even in the most turbulent situations. This approach is particularly relevant in today's fast-paced world, where external pressures and unexpected changes can easily trigger anxiety and stress. Practical ways to nurture inner peace include creating daily routines that promote stability, such as setting aside quiet time for reflection, connecting with nature, or engaging in hobbies that bring joy. For example, spending a few minutes each morning in mindful meditation can reset your mental state for the day, allowing you to approach challenges with a calmer, more composed mindset. Physical activity, such as yoga or walking, can also help release built-up tension and restore mental equilibrium. Additionally, practicing acceptance of things beyond our control reduces frustration and mental conflict. By recognizing that external events are often outside our sphere of influence, we can focus our energy on what truly matters, our responses, values, and actions. Inner peace, therefore, is both a mindset and a practice. Cultivating it strengthens our ability to navigate adversity, maintain emotional balance, and sustain long-term resilience in every area of life. Lesson 7. Embrace what is spiritually superior. Marcus Aurelius taught that the pursuit of external wealth, validation, and recognition often leads to disappointment, while focusing on spiritual growth, inner virtues, and personal values creates lasting fulfillment. Embracing what is spiritually superior means prioritizing inner development. Qualities such as wisdom, courage, justice, and self-discipline over material gains or fleeting pleasures. For instance, someone may face criticism at work or fail to achieve a long-sought goal. By focusing on the development of patience, moral integrity, and compassion, rather than obsessing over external outcomes, they cultivate a sense of enduring contentment and purpose. Marcus Aurelius argued that the mind should be aligned with higher principles, reminding us that external circumstances are fleeting, but the cultivation of virtue and wisdom endures. This perspective transforms challenges into opportunities to reinforce inner values and to grow spiritually. Practically applying this lesson involves regular self-reflection and assessing whether your daily choices align with your deepest principles. Activities such as journaling, reading philosophical texts, or engaging in contemplative practices help to strengthen inner virtues. Another application is practicing detachment from outcomes, which does not mean indifference, but rather focusing on giving your best effort while remaining unshaken by external success or failure. For example, an athlete may train diligently without obsessing over winning every competition, finding satisfaction in mastery, discipline, and perseverance instead. Similarly, in relationships, one can focus on being a good friend or partner, emphasizing honesty, kindness, and empathy without seeking constant validation from others. By embracing what is spiritually superior, we build resilience, enhance our emotional stability, and create a solid foundation of inner strength that endures regardless of life's external challenges. Lesson 8. Accept life's impermanence. Marcus Aurelius frequently reminded himself that everything in life, people, possessions, experiences, and even emotions, is temporary. This realization is not meant to be depressing, but liberating. When we embrace impermanence, we free ourselves from clinging too tightly to things we cannot keep and learn to appreciate the present more fully. Think of a sunset. Its beauty is intensified precisely because it won't last. Similarly, relationships, joyful moments, challenges, and even personal struggles are all temporary states in the ever-flowing current of life. When we resist this natural truth, we suffer. When we accept it, we learn to navigate life with greater peace and understanding. For example, someone going through heartbreak might initially feel devastated, believing the pain will last forever. But recognizing impermanence helps them see that healing will come, new opportunities will arise, and that this difficult moment is just one chapter in a much larger story. Impermanence teaches us to let go gracefully, to savor experiences while they last, and to accept change without fear. Practically embracing impermanence involves cultivating awareness and gratitude for the present. One way to do this is through daily reflection, asking yourself what you might appreciate more if you knew it wouldn't always be there. This could be a loved one, your health, your youth, or even the simple comfort of a familiar routine. You can also practice letting go of small attachments, such as decluttering your living space or releasing grudges, to build the mental habit of non-attachment. Another powerful exercise is observing nature, leaves falling, seasons changing, waves rising and receding. These natural cycles mirror our own lives and remind us that change is not an enemy, but an essential part of existence. By accepting impermanence, we reduce anxiety about the future and regret about the past. We become more resilient because we no longer fear change. We expect it, embrace it, and move with it instead of resisting. This allows us to approach life with a deeper sense of calm, appreciation, and courage. Lesson 9. Prioritize what truly matters. Marcus Aurelius believed that one of the greatest tragedies of life is wasting time on things that do not matter. He urged himself and us to strip away distractions and devote energy only to what is meaningful: personal growth, virtuous action, meaningful relationships, and purposeful work. In modern life, distractions are everywhere: social media, constant notifications, superficial pursuits, and comparisons to others' achievements. These pull us away from what genuinely enriches our lives. Imagine someone obsessing over online approval, spending hours comparing themselves to influencers or friends. Not only does this drain energy, but it also creates insecurity and dissatisfaction. Prioritizing what truly matters means being intentional with your time and saying no to anything that misaligns with your values. When you focus on what is essential, your health, your loved ones, your purpose, you build a life with depth and meaning, not just noise and busyness. Marcus Aurelius constantly reminded himself, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." This powerful lens clarifies priorities immediately. Practically, prioritizing what matters requires self-awareness and disciplined choices. Start by identifying your core values. What principles guide your decisions? What gives your life meaning? Once you know these, evaluate your daily habits. How much of your time actually aligns with your values? You might discover that hours are spent on mindless scrolling or avoiding difficult but meaningful tasks. Reorganizing your day to reflect your values can be transformative. You can create routines that protect your mental and physical health. Set boundaries with people or activities that drain you, and allocate more time to personal or professional growth. Another useful practice is the deathbed test, imagining what your future self would regret not doing. This exercise often highlights neglected passions or relationships that deserve more attention. When you consistently prioritize what matters, you build a life guided by purpose rather than impulse. This clarity not only strengthens resilience, but also deepens your overall fulfillment and emotional stability. Lesson 10. Build resilience through discipline. Resilience is not merely the ability to endure hardship. It is the strength to rise after every setback, adapt to change, and keep moving forward. Marcus Aurelius believed that resilience is cultivated through discipline, intentional practice, and the consistent effort to strengthen one's character. Discipline trains the mind and body to withstand difficulty without breaking. Imagine an athlete who trains daily, enduring discomfort, fatigue, and failure. Over time, their discipline builds both physical and mental resilience, enabling them to face challenges that once seemed impossible. The same principle applies to life. When we practice discipline, whether by waking early, exercising regularly, studying consistently, or controlling our impulses, we develop a reservoir of inner strength. Marcus Aurelius constantly reminded himself to do what needed to be done even when he didn't feel like it, understanding that discipline is the groundwork of freedom and progress. Without it, we become slaves to our moods, fears, and desires. Practically, building resilience through discipline involves creating routines and rituals that support long-term growth. Start small. Commit to a simple daily habit, such as writing for 10 minutes, meditating for 5, or taking a daily walk. Gradually increase your challenges as your discipline strengthens. Consistency is key. Progress doesn't come from intensity, but from repetition. Another method is voluntary discomfort. Deliberately doing difficult things like taking cold showers, limiting indulgences, or completing tasks without procrastination. This trains your mind to tolerate discomfort and reduces fear of challenging experiences. Reflect on setbacks, too, not with shame, but with curiosity. Ask yourself what lesson each failure offers and how you can adjust your approach. With time, discipline rewires your identity. You no longer see yourself as someone who avoids difficulty, but as someone who meets it head-on. This shift builds immense confidence, adaptability, and resilience, qualities critical for navigating life's inevitable storms. Lesson 11. Practice self-reflection. Daily. Marcus Aurelius wrote Meditations as a private journal, not intended for publication. This fact alone reveals how central self-reflection was to his personal growth. Every evening, he examined his thoughts, actions, mistakes, and intentions. This practice helped him stay grounded, humble, and focused on becoming a better human being, not for praise, but for personal integrity. Daily self-reflection allows us to pause and evaluate whether we acted in alignment with our values, whether we let emotions control us, or whether we grew even a little in courage, wisdom, empathy, or discipline. Think of a person who reacts harshly during a stressful day at work. Without reflection, they repeat the cycle the next day. But with reflection, they gain awareness. Why did I react that way? Was it stress? Fear? Ego? How can I handle this better tomorrow? This type of introspection not only improves behavior, but also strengthens emotional intelligence, giving us insight into our patterns, triggers, and deeper needs. Like Marcus, we become students of our own minds. In practical terms, self-reflection can take many forms: journaling, meditation, quiet walks, or simply sitting with your thoughts at the end of the day. You can ask yourself meaningful questions. What did I do well today? What challenged me? What emotion dominated my decisions? Did I express patience, courage, or kindness? What could I do better tomorrow? This transforms reflection into a personal compass that guides your growth. Another powerful method is reviewing your goals weekly, checking if your actions are truly aligned with what you claim you want. This avoids drifting through life and helps correct your course before bad habits solidify. Over time, daily reflection sharpens your awareness and builds resilience because you're no longer surprised by your emotions. You understand them. You're no longer ruled by impulses. You see them coming, and you're no longer a passive participant in life. You're an active sculptor of your character, shaping yourself with each day's lessons. Lesson 12. Live according to virtue. For Marcus Aurelius, virtue was the highest good, the foundation of a meaningful and resilient life. Virtue in Stoic philosophy is not abstract moral perfection, but the daily practice of living with wisdom, courage, justice, and self-discipline. It means doing what is right even when it's difficult, acting with integrity even when no one is watching, and choosing excellence over convenience. Living according to virtue strengthens resilience because it aligns your life with something unshakable, your character. External circumstances can change, fortunes can rise or fall, people can misunderstand or mistreat you, but virtue stays within your control. Imagine someone in a workplace where shortcuts or dishonesty might offer quick rewards. Choosing virtue means upholding integrity even when it costs something. You may lose a short-term advantage, but you gain something far more valuable: self-respect, inner peace, and the trust of others. Marcus Aurelius believed that the virtuous person is unbreakable because they depend on nothing external for their sense of worth. Practically, living according to virtue begins with small, consistent choices. Ask yourself daily, what is the right thing to do in this moment? What action aligns with my highest values? You can practice courage by speaking honestly, justice by treating others fairly, humility by admitting mistakes, and self-discipline by controlling impulses. These virtues build emotional strength because they anchor you in principles rather than moods. Another practical application is seeking role models, historical figures, mentors, or even fictional heroes who embody the virtues you aspire to. Observing how they handle adversity can inspire your own actions. Virtue also thrives in community. Surround yourself with people who encourage growth rather than sabotage it. Over time, these practices shape your identity. You become someone who doesn't simply know what is good, you live it. And that, according to Marcus Aurelius, is the path to a life of purpose, strength, and unshakable inner resilience. Conclusion: bringing the wisdom of Marcus Aurelius into your daily life. As we arrive at the end of this journey through the teachings of Marcus Aurelius, it's important to recognize that these lessons are far more than historical reflections or philosophical musings. They are living principles, timeless tools crafted from the mind of a man who bore the weight of an empire while wrestling with the same fears, doubts, and human struggles we face today. Marcus wrote not as a distant emperor, but as a fellow traveler navigating the complexities of life, battling internal storms, and striving to remain steady amidst the turbulence around him. His words have endured for nearly 2,000 years because they speak to something universal within us: the desire to understand ourselves, the world, and the role we play in it. They remind us that resilience is not a trait reserved for the privileged or the strong. It is something we cultivate through conscious choices, daily practices, and the continual shaping of our inner character. As you reflect on each lesson, from managing your perceptions to embracing adversity, cultivating gratitude, strengthening inner peace, and living with virtue, consider how they resonate with your own personal journey. You may find that certain lessons speak loudly to your present circumstances, while others become more relevant over time. This is the beauty of Stoic wisdom. It evolves with you, offering new insights as your life changes. The key is not to absorb these ideas intellectually and leave them on the shelf of your mind, but to weave them into your daily life with intention. When you face conflict, recall the power of perception. When you feel overwhelmed, remember the importance of being present. When life challenges you, remind yourself that obstacles are invitations to grow. And when you struggle with self-doubt, turn inward and rediscover your capacity for courage, wisdom, discipline, and compassion. Building resilience and inner strength is not a one-day endeavor. It is a lifelong practice. It is shaped in quiet moments of reflection, in the choices you make when no one is watching, and in the way you respond to life's inevitable hardships. Some days you will embody these virtues naturally, and other days you will fall short. But even that is part of the Stoic path. Marcus himself often wrote about his own failures, reminding us that perfection is not the goal. Growth is. Over time, as you apply these teachings, you will find that you become calmer in chaos, clearer in judgment, and more anchored in purpose. You begin to trust yourself, not because life becomes easier, but because you become stronger. So, as you step away from these pages, carry these lessons with you. Let them guide your thoughts, shape your actions, and illuminate your path. And remember, resilience is not the absence of struggle. It is the ability to rise again and again with greater clarity, wisdom, and strength. Marcus Aurelius has handed us a torch of ancient wisdom. Now, it is up to you to carry it forward into your own life, lighting the way not just for yourself, but for all those around you.